love, if you want love, then give love, yeah. Be the change you want in the world. It's the path of the mystic. You want joy, then smile on your brothers and your sisters. If you want joy, then spread it all to your brothers and your sisters. Be the change you want in the world. It's the path of the mystic.
Good morning. How are you this morning? Great, good. Yeah, me too. I love today. I say this a lot. I say it every day, actually, because it's the best day ever. And I say it's the best day ever because it's the only moment that I have right now, right here. And all kinds of things are happening in our world, but whatever's going on, no matter what's happening, right now, I'm alive and I'm at Choice Point. And so today is the best day ever. This moment is the best moment ever. And we've chosen to spend it with each other. So thank you. I love you. Thank you. Yeah. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be here, especially because so much has been happening this week, really challenging stuff. And that's been working me. I don't know if it's been working you, but it's definitely been working me. Philando Castile was a Minnesota resident who was killed during a traffic stop. And Alton Sterling was killed in Louisiana. And then in Texas, there were 5 policemen who were shot in a peaceful protest. And this just coming off the heels of Orlando, where there were 49 people killed, and actually the killer himself was killed, so that's 50 people. And it affects me. It affects me. And the reason why it affects me is because I'm connected to all that is. I'm connected to the infinite everything that is God, and I cannot not be affected. Now, some people may be feeling it more than others, and there's no judgment on how much you're feeling it or not, but the fact is that we're all affected by this kind of thing. And sometimes I think to myself, is this hell? Did I come to the wrong time and space? Did I come to hell? Like, what happened here? And I realize, which is why I wrote this talk. I wrote this talk before I knew what was going on in the world, but we're at choice point. We're either in heaven or in hell, and the choice is up to us on what we experience. Well, it's great to say to you, except whenever something like this happens. Well, how can I say I'm in heaven whenever I'm witnessing this kind of thing happening in the world? How can I say that? And it brings me back to the point that everything was created twice. Everything has been created twice. So everything that we have in this reality has been created twice. It was first created here, in our heads, in our thoughts, and our belief systems. It was created first here, and then the effect of what has been created is what we're witnessing right now. So everything right now is an effect. And that means I'm at choice point to choose a new effect. In other words, to affect what's going on, I get to choose a new way of being in this world. So I could choose to be in heaven by creating a new idea of possibility for this world. I could choose that. Or I could choose hell by really focusing on all the things that are really bad that are going on, because then I'll be recreating what's been going on. Because everything that we focus our attention on gets recreated. Well, that doesn't mean I ignore what's going on, but it does mean that it gives me the opportunity to focus my mind on what I want. Because all those things that I don't want give me the clarity to know what I do want. But if I keep focusing on what I don't want, then I'm just going to keep that momentum going. But I could use it as a tool. I could use what's going on in the world right now as a tool to focus me on what I do want. I was listening to Esther Hicks from the Abraham the other day, and she said that not just everything was created twice, but she said our thoughts, it's like lightning and thunder. So the thought happens, that's like the lightning, it's like bam, but then the thunder is like the effect. So everything here is like the thunder that's going on, right? There's a little rumbling going on. And I also think to myself about the time I took foundations class, which I highly recommend if you haven't taken it. How many people have taken foundations? Okay, a lot of you, yeah. Okay, so when I took foundations, my life fell apart. Did that happen to you? Okay, some of you, yeah. Not everybody, don't worry. It's not going to happen to you. But it happened to me. And it was funny because I went and I talked to a practitioner. I was like, what's going on? Everything's falling apart. And the practitioner said, well, that's because your life is falling together. That's because your life is falling together. Because you've stated that intention. You stated a declaration that you want to stand in a new idea of possibility, and everything unlike that idea is falling away. My relationship fell away. My job fell away. I mean, I was just like, what is going on? And then I had the opportunity to step into new possibility. I got an even better relationship, an even better job. Like, things came to me magnificently. But I could look at those things falling away as a terrible and awful thing, or I could look at those things as the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Maybe that's happening now in our country. Maybe now that we have started to really get serious about how we want to create a world that works for everyone, all of the things that we have been ignoring are coming to the surface to be healed. Maybe it's time for us to really look at the institutionalized racism that's happened in our country and decide that that's not the country I want to live in. Or the homophobia. That's not the country I want to live in. I want to live in a country where I'm respected for who I am. I want to be in a country where there really is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, where there's freedom. I dream of a new idea for this country. Well, I'm the one who has the opportunity to dream the new idea, because what is happening right now is an effect. It's an effect of everybody's past belief systems. And so I can choose to create heaven by being at choice and creating a new vision for the world. I can choose to create a new idea of what's possible. Everybody here is a creator. God loved itself so much that it birthed itself as you. And you, and you, and you, and you. It loves itself. It loves itself. And that's why you showed up. You showed up here to be the multiplicity of the beauty, of the diversity of that divine essence. I went to Peru. I've been with this center twice going to Peru. I went once in 2011 and I went once last September, which was magnificent. And the first time I went to Peru, I had this, you study with all different shamans, you do all kinds of really cool healing things. And I had this vision. I had this vision while I was there of a snake. And I mean, this was like a big snake. So I'm in this dream state and I see this snake and it's huge. It's like 40 feet tall and it's like 10 feet around. I mean, it's like this gigantic snake and it comes at me and it puts its head down. It's like a 5-foot head and it talks to me and it says, "You are the one." And I'm like, whoa. Kind of freaked me out. But then I thought, wait a second. What, isn't everybody the one? And so I told the snake, "Isn't everybody the one?" And the snake said, "Yes." Yes. Yes, but not everybody accepts it or realizes it. So I had to go to Peru to realize I'm the one. You don't have to do that. I can tell you right here and right now that you're the one. You're the one. You're the one. You're the one. Yeah. I wanted to feel special. I wanted to feel loved. I wanted to feel like I'm making an impact on this planet, like I'm making a difference. And it was so good to hear that I'm the one. So I'm here to tell you, you're the one. You're cherished. You're special. You're so magnificent and beautiful. You are love, and you are loved. You are adored. And you're the one who's here to share your gifts in the world. You were created with certain gifts to share with each other and the world. We all have them. We are all born with certain gifts. And so this is an opportunity for us to choose, how are we going to share our gifts with the world? How are we going to create the new world? Again, it starts here. What am I going to dream up? What am I going to think about? What am I going to create? I want to live in a new country. I want to live in a country that works for everyone. I want to live in a country that everybody's respected and honored and valued, where people don't live in fear, where they live in celebration. And that's what I'm dreaming of. Because as I dream and as I vision, as I claim, actually what I'm doing is I'm just knowing what already is. But it's stepping into it. I get to step into it. Now, that's wonderful for me to say, like, oh, it's so easy for you to say that because you're a minister, but sometimes it's not so hard to do. Because growth is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. But I have to tell you, change is happening all the time, just so you know. Nothing stays the same. That's the one constant. Everything is changing. So if everything is changing, that means each and every one of us are at choice point to create what we want to have in our new world, in our new country, in our new Center for Spiritual Living. What do we want to create? Now, some people are, I want to say, and me, I've had this too, some people are spiritually ignorant or naive. Now, this is what happens whenever I'm spiritually ignorant or naive, then I experience hell. And when I know I'm there, I'm going to blaming, shaming, hatred, not taking responsibility. I say somebody else should fix it. Somebody else should do this. And if I'm responding from heaven, that's a spiritually evolved position. That's where I start saying, if this system is troubling me, then it's up to me to take action and to change it. It means that there's something in your inner guidance system that's directing you. You're stirred for a reason. You're stirred for a reason. There's the bird in a shell, little baby bird in an egg. Like it has to struggle to get out of the egg. There's something, but it has this impulse for greatness, right? To fly. But first it has to get out of that egg. And it struggles and struggles against the shell. Now, if we broke open that shell, it would not be able to fly. It actually needed that pressure in order to build up its muscles. So what if what is going on right now is our spiritual muscle? It's growing us to step into that new idea of possibility, that new idea of a country that works for everyone, that new idea of a world that works for everyone. When I was growing up, I went to, I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I learned about history. I had a history class and about the civil rights movement, Brown versus the Board of Education, and I thought it was history. Like I really did think that was history because I was learning it in history class. Like I didn't even know there actually was like real racism going on. I thought, oh, well, we're cool. We cleaned that all up. And then I went to ministerial school, and then I realized that I have this thing called white privilege. And all that means is that right now our social system is set up where certain people have given rights and other people, they have to struggle for their rights. And it's not just, white people. If you're a man, then women have had to struggle for their rights. Or if you're straight, then you're privileged. I'm a lesbian, so I understand the struggles of, LGBTQ people. But it doesn't matter where we are. We all have, or if you're able-bodied, if you can walk around like I can walk around, it's different. I have privileges than differently abled people. So what can I do about this? I want each and every person to be loved and respected and appreciated for who they are. And so what I get to do is I get to stand in that choice point of loving and appreciating and being an advocate for the world. Being an advocate for love and appreciation. Being an advocate for a new idea of possibility. And that means that each and every one of us have areas in our lives where we can be an advocate for our community members, where we can be an advocate for our brothers and sisters, where we can be an advocate in the world. And that means speaking about love, speaking about equality, speaking about support and appreciation, understanding how important these things are in our world. But it's not just me, that's you too. We get to co-create this, if that's really what you want. Do you want a world that works for everyone? Yeah, I do too. I'm invested in it. I'm really invested in it. Ernest Holmes said, we must take the science of mind into everyday life. And when we find ourselves confronted by discordant conditions, we should never say, oh, what's the use? What's the use? But rather say, there is something in me which is greater than this condition, and it can dissolve it. We have the privilege and the power to do this. And if we use this ability properly, it will be productive of salutary results. We have the privilege and the power within us to dissolve this. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. And how are you using it? Are you using it to focus on, wow, this keeps happening, and this keeps happening, and this keeps happening? Or are you using it to focus on a greater vision, a new idea of possibility? Where are you giving your attention? If you give your attention on this keeps happening and this keeps happening, then you keep attracting that this keeps happening. But if you give your attention on the greater vision, you start stepping into alignment with that greater vision because it's already happened. We just get to align with it. Yeah. And that's the fun part. That's part of our journey of creation. We all came here together to create together. And so I want to be in a playground. I want to have fun. I want to play with you. I want to just enjoy the juiciness of life. And I want that same thing for everybody. And so I get to be a point of possibility for everybody else. Martin Luther King said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." You cannot be guilty enough to solve injustice. You cannot be victimized enough to solve victimization. You cannot be poor enough to solve the poor problems of the world. The only way to do it is to be in that space of love, of power, of grace. Love, light. And as you accept this light for yourself, as you accept this love and joy and power and grace and abundance for yourself, you have the opportunity to give your gifts to others. So don't you want that for yourself? Yeah. So start accepting that in your life. I noticed just the other day how I'm teaching this Prosperity 2 class, and in the Prosperity Plus 2 class, it's that attention goes to how prosperous we are, and then if we're accepting or turning away our good. And I know there's a lot of classes where we learn about, are we accepting our good or are we turning away our good? And I was doing a service project with my community, and I was driving some community members up, and then I got back to the center, and one of the community members wanted to pay for my gas. And at first I was like, no. And then I thought, what am I doing? Yes, pay for my gas. Why, yes. Because I want that abundance to continue to flow. I want that abundance to continue to flow. So just as you have compliments, abundance, things coming at you, the best way to continue to create that vibrational energy is to accept them and then to pass it on. It's so much more fun to give money away. It's just as much fun to receive it. So I just say yes, keep it coming. Because I want to live in heaven. I recognize that breakdown leads to breakthrough. I've had all kinds of breakdowns in my life, but I notice that when I'm going through breakdown, instead of seeing it as a bad thing, I recognize that it is the thing that is transforming me into the next level of my experience. It is the thing that is the best thing that could have happened to me. So what if this is the best thing this last week? What if this is the best thing that could have happened to our country? What if this is the thing for us to awaken to our greater connection with each other? I don't know about you, but I have seen a lot of good news. I've seen a lot of people, especially in the wake of the Orlando shooting, I saw so many good news stories. There was one of the fathers of one of the victims, and he came out and he said, I just want to send this message of forgiveness. I forgive Omar Mateen. But I also forgive all the people who have institutionalized all of the homophobia that has happened. And what I do is I step into a new possibility of love. And I recognize that this is just making me a more loving man. Yeah. Talk about one of my heroes. So what if you can take those things that are happening in your life to have them be the catalyst for your greatest good? I'm going to do that, and I continue to do that. I love this idea. Charles Duhigg, I can say his name, he wrote this book called The Power of Habit. And what he did is he did some brain scans of one woman, her name was Lisa Allen, who was overweight, smoked frequently, and was constantly in debt. And so he took this brain scan just to check her out, just be like, wow, what is her brain doing? What's going on in there? And a few years later, she made some dramatic changes in her life. She lost all her weight, she was fit, she ran marathons, she was debt-free, and she quit smoking. And they took some new brain scans, and it was as if it was a completely different brain. Completely different brain. They could not even tell the similarities because she had created new neural pathways in her brain. That brings me to our book of the month, The Dark Side of the Moon. Or not the moon, The Dark Side of the Mind. The Dark Side of the Moon, all right. Got some fans, all right. The Dark Side of the Mind by Alba Alamillo. And she says that our belief system is created by our surroundings, the lessons we've learned, the situations we've lived, and our interpretation of those situations. So for instance, a frustrated mom yells at her two boys, and they're twins. And one of them takes offense and is embarrassed and ashamed. And then Leo notices his mom making funny gestures, and he starts holding back laughter. And so each one of them they were at choice point, and they decided something about themselves. When the mom yelled, one of them decided this means I'm a bad person. The other one decided that it means it's funny, right? Alba talks about in her book how she was cooking. And she was a kid, she was cooking, and she decided to make cookies without flour. And this was before gluten-free was something going on. And so her grandmother said, no, it's not gonna work. And she's like, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna make this work. So she cooks the cookies, and of course they come out a big mess, and they're not really good to eat. And she decides that means she's a bad person. That means that she's not able to get a good husband. She's Mexican, so that was a big deal in her family. It's like, oh, you gotta get a good husband. You know, that's what it was all about. So she decided, well, now I'm not gonna be a good cook. I'm not gonna get a good husband, and she decided that way early in her life. Later, when she was an adult, she had kids, and she went to a science fair. And there was a little girl who had decided to make a science fair project on cookies. And what she did is she had one recipe, and she baked different batches of cookies, and each batch was missing one ingredient. And then there was like, well, how are they coming out? How is it coming out, right? And so, of course, there was one batch that was missing flour. And there's this girl, she's so proud, she's so excited, like, wow, check out my cookies, they're missing flour. And it dawns on Alba. She's like, oh my God. Like, when that happened to me, I decided that I'm not a good person. But when this girl, the same thing happens to her, it's the best thing that could have ever happened to her. Because she was victorious about it. She was curious, she was inquisitive, and then she learned something that was a benefit not only to her, but to all of society. Now, what if we did that with the things in our past that we thought were the worst things that could have happened to us? What if we decided that they were the thing that we needed to have in order for us to step into the fullness of our being? I have this retreat, Sister Spirit. I have two retreats, as you heard before, but I was at Sister Spirit last September, and not last September, sorry, last April. And Michelle Jordan was singing this song, and she was just a musical genius. She's so great. And earlier, she had been in the sweat lodge with me. And we were in the sweat lodge, and we were having this very sacred moment, and we were all singing, and it was so cool. And I was just surrendering to the bigness of myself, right? Releasing any fears, releasing any worries, sweating it out, stepping into a new idea of possibility. And then we had this evening session with Michelle, and Michelle is a powerful singer, and I knew we had other singers at that retreat. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the mic, and I'm gonna just have each of the powerful singers, I'm just gonna have them sing spontaneously. And it was this amazing, gorgeous experience, and each singer was powerfully singing, powerfully singing, powerfully singing, and then I give it to Michelle, and Michelle starts singing to me. And she was like, oh, I heard you, girl. You are a powerful singer. And I just broke down. I started crying because she didn't know when I was 6 or 7, I was in a church youth choir and I was singing a duet, and I felt like I was singing off key. And then the choir director afterwards, I asked him, was I singing off key? And he said, you were wonderful. And I said, no, I can take it. It's okay. And he said, yes, you were singing off key. And I couldn't take it. I made a belief system in that moment that I couldn't sing. And so Michelle Jordan calls me out in front of everybody, like, you can sing, girl. And I just started crying because I realized deep inside I'd been harboring that belief system for so long. And it was time to let it go. It was time to let it go. So I'm starting to take singing lessons, which is really cool. Yeah. And I have to say, it's totally awkward and uncomfortable. It's really awkward. And the other thing I'm doing new is I'm taking Zumba lessons. I don't know if you've started Zumba before, but everybody knows what's going on except the new person. So I'm going this way and they're going that way, and then I try and catch up, and it's like, oh, it's so awkward. And it was funny because they were all doing everybody's doing a spin, and so I go to spin. And then I realized they were only doing half spins. So while I'm already spinning around, everybody's on to the next step. Has this ever happened to anybody else? Okay, thank you. Oh, good. And I recognize, that's part of the process. That's part of the process. As we're stepping into our new selves, as we're stepping into this new way of being, this new possibility, it's uncomfortable. It's totally uncomfortable. It's like putting on the jeans after you just washed them, and they're a little uncomfortable until you wear them for a little while, right? So growth is uncomfortable. But that doesn't mean we should shy away from it. That means that's the invitation for us to step into it more, to do it more. And that's what spiritual practice is. That's why we have these amazing spiritual centers, because we're here to be in spiritual practice, to dream that new vision, to create a new world that works for everyone. And as you create with your mind, with your affirmations, with your prayers, then you're the lightning, right? You're the lightning. Alba says in her book that we take 1,000 thoughts creates a belief. 1,000 thoughts over and over and over and over again creates a belief system. And so in order for us to shift not only our personal belief system, but our world belief system, we get to start thinking new thoughts and repeating them over and over and over again until they are embedded into the consciousness of our entire planet. And that's what I'm invested in doing, and that's what I invite you to do. I invite you to start dreaming up your new dreams. Start creating your new ideas. Every moment, you may be doing really well right now. Well, what's the next better thing? We're on an upward, evolving spiral of evolution, always going upward. So there's going to be great good in your life, and then it's going to get better, and then it's going to get better. And that is the same for this center, the same for this world, the same for our country. But we get to be at choice point. Are we going to choose to be in heaven and to create that, or are we going to choose to be in hell? What do you choose? Heaven. Yeah, me too. So I welcome you to step into that idea. Take it on this week. Take on the new idea of being maybe uncomfortable in these new concepts and new ideas and trying them on. Stretching yourself into that possibility that we really can create a world that works for everyone, that we really can be in this community that is loving and supportive of each and every person's individualized, joyful expression, because you are the one. You are the one. And so it is. Yeah. Woo. Okay, you have to keep standing. Keep standing. Hold on. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Seattle. I love you. Welcome to the best day ever. All right, let's pray. I am so grateful and honored to be here. I recognize that I live in Oh, I live in this universe that is the divine universe. It is God. God is everything. It is power, it is love, it is joy, it is beauty. It is creativity. And I know that this essence of creativity flows in and through me, in and through each and every person that is here. That creative spark ignites each and every one of us to awaken to the glory of who we really are. And so as I step into that truth, as I step into that realization, I recognize that I am empowered to be that shining light. And I know that each and every person here is empowered to be that shining light because we have the power of the heavens in and through us. And so I declare that that power which empowers other people spreads like a wildfire of love. That this love is intrinsic in each and every one of us. And so as I accept this love and I allow it to flow through me, I know that it touches the hearts of each and every person I come across today and forever. That I'm in tune, in alignment with that love. I allow it to love me too. I allow that warm, fuzzy goodness to just permeate my soul and my beingness, to just drip inside with luscious love. I'm so grateful for this amazing experience, knowing that today is a new day. Today is the best day ever, and so I claim that day. I step into it. I step into a new idea of possibility, a new idea of creation, knowing that this creation, this choice that I have, I choose to create heaven right now. Heaven in my community, heaven in my country, heaven in the world. I choose love. And I choose to be a point of inspiration for that love to just catch on. And I know that each and every person here does the same. And so as I claim that, I surrender into it, allowing it to just take me away. I release attachment. I release what I think it should look like, knowing it's bigger, better, and more magnificent than that. And I just say yes. Yes. Thank you, Spirit, thank you, universe, thank you, infinite everything. I am so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to be alive. I'm so grateful to be a creator. It is indeed good. Thank you, God. And so I release this, letting it go, knowing it's already done. And so it is.